Welcome back to Coffee and Tea with CarrieVee. I'm CarrieVee, your biggest fan, the person who will believe in you until you can believe in yourself. We talk all things leadership, all things communication, and leadership and communication covers a whole lot of topics. And today we are joined by Katy Whalen. I'm so excited. I have been looking forward to talking with you, Katy. Katy's from Joy Women's Wellness, a company that has literally transformed my life. So, Katy, welcome to Coffee and Tea with CarrieVee.
Oh, thank you. I am so dang excited to be here. It's so lovely to finally connect with you face to face.
Yeah, I feel the same. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about Joy Women's Wellness, and a little bit about what got you connected with wanting to help women in their wellness journey?
Yeah, like so many other women, it was me going through it. I'm a mama to two beautiful babies, Lenny and Rowdy. They're 3 and 6. So I feel like I'm very much in it right now at this stage. I had them later on in life, and getting to having them was quite a struggle for me. I had 4 miscarriages,
Oh,
and
I'm
then
so
I did.
sorry.
Thank you. And it's so common, I feel like now. It's sadly so common. I think we're having them later on in life, and there's a lot of things that go into it, but it was heartbreaking. And
Yes.
not only was it heartbreaking, but it was physically demanding and emotionally demanding. And then also, by the way, so is just having kids. So
Yes.
all of it combined left me feeling like a shell of who I was. And
Yeah.
when I had my second baby, I was 41, so I felt like I went right from that crazy journey to right into perimenopause. And
Wow. Yes.
I was like, I didn't know what I was getting into, unfortunately, like so many other women. And the only thing I got from my OBGYN was the 6-week checkup saying, "You're cleared to have sex." And I was like, "Wait a minute."
Wow.
I think there's a lot more that I need to
Wow.
work
Yeah.
on here. So, really the journey for starting this company started before that with my husband. He went through his own stuff. So he started the Blokes, which is the men's version first. And then I was lucky because I was able to get help through that side. But a lot of women don't have that access. And after I started to feel a lot better, like night and day, that's when I was like, we have to serve women because women go through even more than what men
Yes.
do just in our regular lives. So that's when Joy was born.
I love this story. And I'm learning just listening to you being able to ask these questions. What was one of the biggest struggles that you were in on your journey to overcome? Like, how are you feeling? How can women know that what they're feeling is a part of this hormonal journey that we just think? I mean, I always thought menopause, perimenopause, I just thought it was a bunch of hot flashes.
I know. Yeah. That's kind of what we're led to believe, right? And I also was led to believe, or what I thought it was just something that kind of happened when you were old. First of all, I don't, feel that old, but it's happening. It's like it's a progression, right? So I think what's important for women to know is understanding what it is and understanding that a lot of symptoms can be contributed to your hormones changing. For me, it was, what I noticed first was a lot of anxiety. And I was wondering, is that because I went through some trauma? I had my miscarriages, I had my kids, I was worried about two human beings now. Like, is that
Yeah.
it? Um, but after I started on progesterone, I was like, wow, a sense of calm and almost like I could breathe again and
Yeah.
I could sleep through the night again. And that was life changing for me.
Yes. The sleep through the night again is such that's such a huge thing.
Mm.
When I started on my own journey with you, that was one of the things that I remember waking up one morning and going, "Oh my gosh, I slept all night and I don't know how long that has been."
Yeah. And that's sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like the new things that we go through almost like become the new normal,
Yeah.
and then you're kind of just grinding your way through life
Yeah.
and suffering a little bit every day, which is not a great way to live.
Yeah, you're just existing. You're
Yeah,
just existing.
exactly.
So when someone comes to you, what is the process? How I mean, I know, but I want you to share with everybody. What's our process when we come to you and we finally turn over the stone that leads to Joy Women's Wellness? What's our process?
Yeah. A lot of women come to us and say like, "I just something feels off. I don't know what it is." And it in reality it could be a lot of things. So one thing we love to do is start with a lab because we can check your hormones, but we can also check other things. We're a big believer in kind of um, deep dive diagnostic labs because there's lots of things that contribute to not feeling good. So we usually start you there with a hormone lab, and we do telemedicine. So a lot of people get confused by that. Like, well, where do I go get my blood drawn? So
Yeah.
we've partnered with LabCorp and Quest. So those are local draw stations that we send you to. We'll set up your lab requisition form. We can also send a nurse or phlebotomist to your home in about 70% of the country.
Wow.
And so that's the first step. And then after that, we get your results and we do a Zoom just like this with your clinician to go over your results, to kind of hear what's going on, what are your symptoms, and what are your goals. And then from there, we can curate a program for you, whether that's lifestyle changes, whether that's HRT, maybe it's just supplements or any other like cool therapies we do, like peptides to just help you get your energy back. And then from there, we work with compounding pharmacies to ship your therapies to your door.
Let's break it down. What do peptides look like? What do they do for your system? What does HRT look like? What do the supplements look like? What does the lifestyle changes look like? Like, I know that could take days, but in a nutshell, what does that look like for the person that you are working with?
Well, starting with supplements, because I feel like that's the lowest hanging fruit. We're not a supplement company, but what we really believe in is supplementing with what you're not getting in your lifestyle or in your food. So we tie that back to your labs, and our labs will tell us like what's going on, what do you need, and that's what we call our smart supplements. So that's an easy way to start. And it's kind of cool because you can always go back 6 months later and check your labs again to see what's changed, see how it's helped, see maybe you'll need to change the formula of supplements. So we think that's a pretty cool way to do that. Peptides. Peptides are really fun. I think that for me, they're the icing on the cake.
Mhm.
I feel like hormones are like the foundation and are super life changing for most people that they work well for. Peptides are kind of like the fun icing if you want to really biohack or try little things to get your energy feeling or your energy back on track. So those are short chains of amino acids, and I think of them like as a key to open a door. So they tell our cells to perform specific tasks, and we have thousands of peptides naturally occurring in our bodies. And of course, as we age, as with most things, our levels decline, so our cells don't function as they once did. So the peptides just target specific
Mhm.
things. Like you can
Great.
have peptides for your face, for your skin, for hair, for energy, for weight loss, for recovery, all sorts of things.
Wow. Okay, and then there's the HRT part, which
Mm.
is hormone replacement therapy for those of you who are listening who might not know what the initials mean there. What does that look like for people, and does it look the same for everyone?
I would say hormone therapy looks different for everyone depending on where you are in your journey. Um, I think it's for me, it was just life changing to learn about HRT and what happens in perimenopause and menopause to us. Um, I will say, from what I've learned, I'm so passionate about it because not only does it just help with symptoms like the hot flashes, like sleeping through the night, um, but it really can change the quality of our life, our vitality, I guess is another way to put it. Um, I think of I think of it almost like I think of estrogen almost like the lube of our life because when you look at what it does for us, it helps keep our bones flexible. So what that when they bend, instead of being brittle, they'd break. So being more flexible helps not to break. It helps our brain from brain degenerating diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia.
Yeah.
It also helps our heart. The biggest effects for women is our heart because heart disease is our number one killer, and it just keeps your blood blood vessels strong. Um, it does so many things for us. So I feel like looking at HRT from just having a vital life as we age is so important, and I think that that's education that's lacking for most women.
I believe so too. I remember growing up, so I'm older than you, and as I'm approaching 60, and I was always taught that hormone replacement therapy was very dangerous and you should never touch it. And if you did, you were going to end up with cancer and you were going to die within a year of starting HRT. And I mean, I can remember my mom sitting me down and saying, "Don't ever take it."
Mm.
And
Yeah,
then I found myself with brittle bones, and after my having my ovaries removed in December of 2021, I watched my health decline no matter what I did, no matter the exercise I did, the strength training I did, the food I ate, the water I drank, the stress reduction.
right.
I just saw myself on a steady decline. And when I finally was introduced to you and did my research on HRT, I realized that we had been lied to. And I would love to hear if you could speak to that too. And the women that are listening to this and the men, my men is using the men's side of the business, folks, and doing his own hormone replacement therapy. Those who are listening who are saying, yeah, but that's scary, then that's your cancer risk. Could you speak to that side of this?
Yeah. I think Peter Attia said in a recent podcast that that's the biggest medical travesty we've had in half a century, something like that. I'm sure I botched that, but there was a study that came out in 2002 called the Women's Health Initiative that said that was the headline. HRT causes cancer. And so immediately half of the population that was on HRT got off cold turkey. There's nothing to do. And it's really affected a lot of lives negatively since then, because even though that was fairly quickly debunked, there was a lot of flaws in that study. The following headlines never really came out. So we still are stuck with that big headline. And breast cancer is a very scary two words. Um, but really, there's so many things about that study that were wrong. One of them is the medications that they were using were Premarin and Prempro. They were I'm the synthetic forms of estrogen and progestin, which we don't use today in HRT. So that's the first major thing to note. Like, what they were using is not what we use. We use the bioidentical hormone therapy, which has not shown to have an increased risk for cancer. The other thing that they did in that study was majority of the women were 10 years past menopause, were overweight, obese, were smokers. So they had a lot higher risk of cancer to begin with. The other really shocking thing about that study is that in reality, it did not even meet the threshold for increased risk. They call it statistically significant. It was not statistically significant, but because the author, who I believe had a bias, said breast cancer is so scary, if there's any risk, we're going to stop the study. So that was their excuse for lowering the threshold scientifically of what was significant.
Wow.
And there's even more little tidbits of why it was flawed, which it's crazy. It's crazy that that's still the narrative. I would encourage anyone to read a book called Estrogen Matters. I don't know if you've read that, but it was
Not.
very powerful. That's by Dr. Avram Blooming, and he lists a ton of studies in to show that HRT does not increase your risk for breast cancer.
Wow, I am looking forward to reading that book, and I will link it in the show notes so that everyone can just go to the show notes and get their hands on that book. I When I started researching the whole Women's Health Initiative and really realizing the lies that women believed, the misinformation, I'll call it misinformation, the misleading that we believed for years, and the needless suffering that many women went through as a result. It it makes me sad. It makes me very sad when I look at my own mother's life, and after her own hysterectomy and oophorectomy, how her health declined and how she tried everything to to be healthier, to lose weight that she felt like came on overnight. And it really does. When you have an
Right.
oophorectomy, they tell you you'll have some quote unquote minor side effects. That's all they tell you. And they're pretty
Wow.
major, and they're
Yeah.
pretty major side effects.
Right. Right.
And watching her struggle through that, and then years later, struggling through it myself, and being able to really walk her journey after her, and wishing I could have felt what she was feeling when she was going through it, the frustration that she felt. After she died, my mom lived with us her last 4 years of her life. And after she died, going through her things, I found all of her food journals where she would write down, Weight Watchers training,
Mm.
every single thing she ate right up to a week before she died. And it was such a small amount of food because she
Mm.
was so desperate to lose this 40, 50 pound weight gain after a nephrectomy, and never realizing how hormone related it was.
Oh, that's so sad. That's a
Yeah.
powerful story.
Mhm.
And I feel like I've seen so many women around me growing up with the same thing, beating
Yes.
themselves up, feeling like it's them, that they're doing something, that they're not good enough. Yeah, and estrogen, lowering our estrogen affects our insulin sensitivity, our metabolic health. So that's a big part of it. And
Yeah.
and no matter what you do, if your hormones aren't there and optimized, you're not going to be able to budge from that.
Yes. It's you've just been teaching me so much through this journey. And I'm new to this journey. It's been not even 3 months since I began my own hormone replacement journey.
Mm,
And I didn't expect to see any changes at all for 3 to 6 months. That's what I was told. You know, you probably won't see any changes. It's not this magic bullet. You can't just go out and eat Twinkies all day, every day and not move. You have to do your part too. But I didn't expect to see any noticeable differences in how I felt for a while. And it really was within the first week, I realized I could stay awake all day.
mm,
I realized I had more energy. I realized I was thinking more clearly, and I was starting to feel like me again. And I
mhm,
wanted other women to feel that same way. I have not shut up about it at
yeah.
all.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we don't know what we don't know.
Oh, and it does feel so good to feel good, doesn't it?
It does. It
Yeah.
does. To sleep all night and to be able to pick up my heavy weights again and
Yes.
feel like I'm getting stronger and stronger every single day. Yes, it does. It's
Yeah.
very good.
That's one thing I hear a lot from women is they feel like they wanna power through menopause, or the other thing they say is it's natural. And, that is a choice that women can make. So I am all for empowering the woman to own their own journey. And so if that's the choice they want to make and that's right for them, more power to them. But in my mind, once your ovaries stop making those crucial hormones, there is no powering through. There is no other lifestyle change that you can do to get back that functionality that hormones brings you. Lifestyle is so very important.
Yes.
But you can't lifestyle your way out of menopause.
No. No, I love that you just said that. That was my journey, working with holistic health coaches and naturopathic doctors and people who really did help me on the lifestyle journey with gut microbiome tests and getting all of really just learning so much about nutrition and movement. But there was a missing piece. And I
Mhm.
was so thankful for the doctor who referred me to you, who said,
Mm,
there's something else going on, and I think they can help you. Actually,
mhm,
she said, I know they can. I know they
mm,
can help you.
mhm,
And so thankful to her because it was the missing piece of the puzzle. I did try to power through.
mhm,
I did everything I thought. I mean, I just thought like I was doing it all. I was doing it all right, and found myself laying in a fetal position on my bed, sobbing to my husband, saying, if I could turn back the clock, I never would have had my ovaries removed. I would
mm,
have just kept them in. With my Lynch syndrome, with the cancer risk of ovarian cancer after already having colon cancer, um, It was a high risk, which is why I had them out, but I felt like I lost my life,
Oh, wow.
and you've given it back. You're
Wow.
you've very much given it back to me. So,
Oh, wow. That is so wonderful to hear that you are back to feeling how you should feel.
yeah, focus, strong. I
And
just
and you can tell, by the way. I mean, looking at you, talking to you, you're so vibrant, and I love that. Your smile just, like, lights up.
thank
I
you.
can't say the room because 'cause we're on Zoom, but it's it's lighting up the connection.
I appreciate that. So, I did have someone ask me, "Well, do I need to do everything? Do I need to do BHRT? Do I need to do smart supplements? Do I need to have other supplements? Do I need to do peptides? Do I need them all in order to be optimal, to feel optimal, and to live optimally in my best health?" And that I thought it was a great question, so I'm gonna pass it along.
I do love that question, and I mentioned this before, I think that everyone's health journey should be up to them. I think we should take the power back and choose our own path. And for me, that's a lot of things just because I love this stuff. I'm in it. I like to just play around with things and see what really works for me. But
Mm,
everyone is different. And I think being overwhelmed is the worst thing that you can be. So I think start somewhere
mhm.
and that can be small. And a lab is a great place to start because then you can kind of look at it and go, well, these are the options I could work on. What feels right for me? Where feels right to start? And I think once you focus on one thing that can improve your health and your wellness, just sit with that for a while and see how that feels. And if you feel called to then go to the next step or go do another thing, then that's up to you. But I feel like once you start playing with it and start feeling a little better, I think it gets more and more fun to push it a little bit more and see where else you can improve.
Yes, I agree. And you've mentioned labs a few times. When I went in for my first lab draw, and I mean, I really didn't look at the requisition. I just took it to Quest, put
Mhm.
my arm out, and she got out all these vials, and I said, "Exactly how many vials are you taking?" And she said, "Well, 10, that's what's on the requisition." I've never had such comprehensive blood work done in my life. In my checkups, my yearly checkups, I've had, I guess I'll say, the major blood draws done, but I've never had anyone go so deep into my labs and to look at every single piece and then to meet on Zoom with my provider and go through each piece.
Mhm.
And then the tracking going back for my next blood draw and seeing how the numbers, how they compared to each other, how my journey is going. For my husband, he went from pre-diabetic
Mm.
to 6 weeks later being back down into a normal A1C range.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yes, with very simple changes of smart supplement and testosterone hormone replacement therapy.
Mm,
He's like a different person.
mhm,
We both are. People are just amazed at the difference that we are as a couple.
mhm,
And but the comprehensiveness of the blood work that you're doing, it's not one thing that you're checking. You're looking at us as a whole person.
mm,
And how does our blood sugar, how does that even relate to hormone replacement therapy? And how does our cholesterol levels, how does that relate to hormone replacement therapy, or do we need it? Well, how does it all relate? It has just been fascinating for the whole journey. And that is a question that somebody asked me to ask you is how do our hormones how do our hormones affect our major systems like our blood sugar and our cholesterol, our blood counts? How does it all tie in?
I mean, it all ties in because 'cause you're one whole person and it's a very complex system. So, of course, if one thing is off, it's gonna throw off something else, and it can be a vicious circle. You know, we talked about, estrogen lowering and causing weight gain. Well, what happens is estrogen is a really great stress hormone, and so when we lose our production of estrogen in our ovaries, then we have to rely more on our other stress hormone, which is cortisol. So women's cortisol levels when they're losing estrogen go up. And then that creates inflammation. and then that creates insulin sensitivity, and it's a vicious circle, round and round and round, of more systems being affected.
Yeah. And I feel like we blame, well, you said it, we blame ourselves. Our doctors tell us, well, you have to eat less and move more. And so we do that and it doesn't work. And so
Mhm.
they tell us we must be doing something wrong.
Right. It's our
And
willpower.
yeah,
Something. Yep.
yeah. You must just be closet eating. I mean, I had a physician tell me that. Now tell me what you're really eating. And I just was like, I told you, this is it. This is my journal. You told me
Oh,
to keep it. This is what I'm really eating.
wow.
But my blood sugar was climbing and my blood pressure was climbing and my weight was climbing. And I felt like giving up,
Wow.
you know?
Yep. Yeah. You sounds like you were gaslit, and I'm glad you didn't give up.
No, I am too. Thank you. I never would have found you. And I'm forever, forever grateful. And I'm not trying to love bomb you, but maybe I am love bombing
I'll
you.
take it. I love it.
I'm so, so, so thankful because I feel like I've gotten my life back. I have gotten my life back. And I want so many women to experience this. And I decided, and on my very first visit with Casey,
Mm,
that I was jumping in with both feet. If I was going to do this, I was going to commit to a year of doing absolutely everything and being consistent with this before I made any decisions on what the future looked like.
mhm.
And I already know I am a lifer. I'm not going anywhere. If you go anywhere, I will follow you to the ends of the earth. Because I don't ever wanna go back. I don't wanna
Yeah,
go back to that person who spent every day wondering what she was doing wrong.
right. Yeah. I mean, I think that sometimes scares people too that say, "Is it something I need to be on for the rest of my life?" And what I think of when I think about that is, well, you can be on it for as long as you want, but you may not want to go back to feeling like you did before.
Yeah.
Um, it's up to you.
Yes, and I'm so glad you said that. I did have someone ask me that too, and I said, "Well, I don't have ovaries or a uterus. I don't have any of those pieces that are responsible for those hormones.
Mhm.
And if I had thyroid cancer and they removed my thyroid, I would be on a thyroid hormone replacement for the rest of my life.
That's
Those
true.
pieces are missing. I intend to be on them for the rest of my life
Mhm.
because I don't want to go back to breaking bones. I broke both wrists in the space of just a year and a half, and then my shoulder. I'm done breaking bones. I
Oh
don't
my gosh.
I never want another one. They're very painful.
Mm.
And
And they're hard to recover from as we
yes,
age too. I
they
think
are.
they say if, when we're older, if we break a hip, it increases our mortality by 25% or something like that.
That's
It's
crazy.
it's it's real stuff.
Yes. And do people really realize what declining hormones do to our bones, to our joints? And I didn't. I didn't. I had incredibly painful knee pain to the point where there were days where I was literally pulling myself up steps, or I would call my husband and say, "Just please come support me. I can't do them today."
Oh, man.
This was the person who was out running races and working out every day, and it wasn't me.
Mhm.
And I had x-rays done. I was told there was no arthritis. No one could tell me what was wrong with my knees in the entire medical community, specialist after specialist. But I have not had one tinge of knee pain since I started
Wow.
getting my body what it needed. It just, but I didn't know. I didn't know that was a part of menopause symptoms. I had no idea.
Right. Yeah, there is. I don't know. I feel like there's something like crazy, like over 100 symptoms that can be attributed to
Yeah.
menopause, just hormonal changes.
Isn't it crazy?
It is. It's pretty wild.
So I just want to get out on a mountaintop and spread this out. So what would be, I know we're like, how did this time go so fast? What would be your greatest piece of advice for women who are feeling like they're crazy?
Mm, yeah. I think community is so important because life is hard no matter no matter what journey you're in, no matter where you are, I think finding your community, and hopefully that community includes people with, in health and wellness that can also lift you up that way. Because I think when women join together, really great things can happen. And
Yeah.
we all have great advice for each other. If we go through something, we don't want our sister to have to go through that same thing. So I think finding the right community is pretty important for our women.
Oh, so powerful. And so that leads right into what is your pow pow shoe? What's your superpower?
One thing I will say that has really been helping me as I've gotten older is recognizing whenever I am saying something bad about myself internally, my inner dialogue, stopping that thought right away and changing it to something positive. That has changed my mindset to make me feel a lot more powerful than I ever did when I was much younger.
Yes. Oh, I love that so much. My workout mirror, which is quite big, it has my handprint so I can high five myself. Thank you, Mel Robbins.
Love that.
Yeah, I don't take credit for that. It's a Mel Robbins thing. And then um, three statements. You are powerful, you are strong, you are beautiful.
Mm.
And when I was looking in the mirror before I had those things, what I saw was, you've gained so much weight. How do you even go out in public? Those are the things that went through my mind. And I thought, I've got to put something on there that's
Right.
that's going to switch my brain to the truth.
Yes. Yes. But there's no benefit that comes from those negative thoughts
No,
that we have about ourselves.
exactly.
None at all. And no one needs to be perfect. You just need to be joyful.
Yes. Oh, joy. Yeah, that's exactly true. Can you give us a writing prompt? Something, I'm a huge advocate of journaling, something that
Mm.
will get us all writing.
I think on that note is what do you want to change the script on? What are the things that you say about yourself that you want to stop this year? And
Oh,
what
yes.
and change, and then write down what you do want to know and believe about yourself.
And when they start writing on this, when we all start writing, I'm going to include myself in this. Where can we find you to tell you what we are changing in 2024?
Oh, I love to hang out on IG. That's my community. So on IG, we are Joy Women's Wellness, and Joy is JOI. And then our website is choosejoy.co.
I love it. I love it. I would recommend everyone listening to this podcast pass this along, get it into the hands of every female you know, and contact Katy. Go to the website, fill out the form, get your initial blood draw done, at least know where you're starting, and let them talk to you about where to go next. This is a powerful, powerful journey, and the choice is always yours. Your body is yours. You get to make your choices.
Mhm.
And I hope that you will choose to feel and become the most amazing person that you can be, because that's why we're on this earth, to choose that joy. I love the name. I absolutely love the name. Choose that joy, choose that
Yeah.
power.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being a light for women and leading the way, and, not giving up on yourself.
Thank you. And thank you for being there. I I'll just be love bombing you for the rest of my life. So you might as well get ready. And we would love to have you back again. Maybe talk more about peptides next time and get more into that, and clear up um, some of the confusion around that we hear in the media, the positives, the negatives, all that noise, and bring it down to a focus. So we would love to have you back to talk about that.
Yeah, let's do that. I love it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Katy, for hanging out with us today.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you.